the powerful ninja known as Sarutobi, the third Hokage, the being that was hailed as the god of shinobi. Being Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village, for example, is more than just raw power. His previous mentors taught him that each Konoha comrade is a part of his own body. He loves them all, that type of thing. Very honorable type stuff. That's being a Hokage. In the world of Naruto, on the planet itself, there's different lands throughout the world that have their own different set of ninjas that specialize in different things. The Hidden Leaf is probably one of the main locations where some of the main characters reside. In the world of Naruto, there's different ninja that are ranked a certain way. At the top of the food chain, it is the Hokage. Matter of fact, in this very picture is the Hokage I'm talking about in this video. There's been several Hokage, all ridiculously strong for their time period. Depending on hard work and dedication and just straight up talent, certain ninjas exceed while some just kind of stay around the same level. Some are prodigies that catch on the jutsu faster because learning how to control your inner energy to do these ninja arts. Oh, ninja arts. It's when you use your inner energy and use the ninja jutsu, hand seals and stuff like that to manipulate your inner energy to produce blasts and all kinds of unique looking abilities. There's other different aspects about being a ninja, like taijutsu. One could say hand-to-hand combat, your fighting speed, all that stuff go hand in hand using ninja tools. It's occasions like this that pretty much prove he's proficient in taijutsu, hand-to-hand combat type stuff. More implications of his fighting speed is not only being able to press Orochimaru, who's decently fast himself, but the fact that he got kicked in this particular occasion and Orochimaru was watching, he had enough time during that kick to plant smoke bombs on these reanimated beings' legs. Orochimaru didn't notice until he saw the actual explosion. This could give you some indication of his fighting speed, but due to the third being a Hokage, he knows how to do the standard ninja stuff that even younger ninjas can do, of course, like being able to manipulate his chakra, inner energy, to help him to be able to stand on certain surfaces without sliding off of it, or ninja stuff like standing or running on water. This is the type of stuff pretty much any Hokage can do by default. This is like standard ninja training stuff. But let's talk about how strong the third Hokage is, though. I would say in the world of Naruto, intelligence is actually power, because faster you can actually catch on to certain things or patterns, the faster you'll be able to learn more complex jutsu and stuff like that. He was labeled a genius and nicknamed the Professor, and it said that he possessed superlative strength even compared to the other Kage. And just for a reminder, for those that are not used to the show, when they use the word strong, that can mean a lot of different things. That could be strong like they're good at certain jutsu, certain stuff that can catch you in illusions. They could be physically strong. They could be strong because of their blast power. They could be strong because of their different versatile jutsu they use. So just keep that in mind. Sometimes us younger people forget that older people were once young. Sarutobi went through his fair share of evolution, gotten stronger over the years, but we didn't see it because it happened off screen. Most of it anyway. All we saw was basically the end result of him actually being at the top of the food chain when you first start watching the show of Naruto. He participated pretty much in all the shinobi wars throughout the years. Young here, you can see it's implied he has some powerful technique type of fighting skill. If you're a watcher of Naruto, especially in the beginning part of the series, there was these three legendary ninja that were called the legendary Sannin. The legendary Jiraiya, Orochimaru, and the super powerhouse being known as Tsunade. He's powerful because when you look at how powerful each of these three beings are when they're adults, think about that for a second. You got to remember that their teacher is the third Hokage. That just gives you an idea of how long he's been fighting when it comes to experience. There was implication in his prime that Sarutobi might have better chakra reserves than your average in his youth. Pretty much all the stuff you're going to see in this video basically is going to be him older. I gotta say, the Hokage outfits be looking good though, I will admit. When it comes to the versatile ninja arts he can do fire blast power type stuff basically. He can even do the fire in the form of a dragon, flame. He can do earth style stuff like doing a mud wall as a shield. He can do the famous technique that Naruto himself likes to spam, the shadow clone jutsu technique, basically making clones of himself. As well as making clones of himself, he can make clones of his shurikens that attack you. In this occasion right here, help fighting the Ten Tails Jinchuriki, Jubito, Obito and the Ten Tails put together. Attacks like this come in handy when you can make a whole bunch of shurikens like shadow clone. Ain't that impressive? Chakra natures, or one could say multiple elements that can be used in Naruto, for example. Sarutobi, third Hokage, is one of the rare people that can use the 5 basic natures of them. It's literally stated right here, he had mastered the different 5 elements, something that's super rare that not everybody can do. He's one of those characters where he knows a lot more jutsu than we've seen him actually do on screen, because they literally stated, thanks to his training rigorously under the first Hashirama and the second, he ended up succeeding as the third Hokage, showing his talent. He even surpassed the second Hokage from childhood because he had mastered 5 nature transformations, secret techniques, and even genjutsus and stuff of that such. He can do all these different natures while doing shadow clone jutsu, for example. Like, he can do all these clones and shoot 5 different chakra natures, 1 out of each clone, all at the same dang time. Oh, but he can also do stuff like summon his own creature to help him fight, like this Monkey King Enma, for example. There's a lot of perks to this summon because not only is it guaranteed help during combat, it can also help him by transforming into a melee weapon. Oh yeah, he's had him for a long time throughout his career. For example, if he can't defend himself from an attack, his summon will actually stop an attack for him. Yeah, he will use staff type of combat if needed, clashing with Orochimaru's sword right here, for example. But then he has Super Haxi Jutsu that he shouldn't use unless he's trying to die himself. It has a very serious payoff, but it can literally grab souls and pull souls out of beings as well, starting it off with a bang. You guys remember the two legendary ninja, Madara from Uchiha, first Hokage, and the fact that the first Hokage's DNA allowed him to do jutsu nobody else could unless they had his DNA, wood-style jutsu, strong wood-style jutsu, to where he can make wooden constructs, avatar thingies that can battle against full-blown Susanos from Madara. And we've seen beings that use the first Hokage's wood style because they had his genetics, like Madara stealing his genetics. We've seen the wood style restrain Nine-Tailed Fox before, and even the Eight-Tails during this big old war, of course. It just kind of gives you an idea of how crazy this wood style can get. Don't ask, but yeah, Orochimaru summoned the souls of the former Kages into this vessel body so they can fight the third Hokage. So that means the first Hokage and the second Hokage are literally back fighting him. And he did his wood style jutsu that can contain tailed beasts, guys. Even though I gotta admit, the wood style he was using against the third here wasn't the crazy wood style stuff we saw him using against the Nine-Tailed. It's still crazy that how powerful wood style jutsu is in this universe. And when the third Hokage summons his Monkey King to help him assist him in battle, it can turn into a staff that's strong enough to break the branches of the first jutsu. One can say with his striking power, his strikes with his staff enhances his blows to where he can knock a tree over or to the side if he needed, just to give you some type of understanding of how strong the third is. But yeah, don't get it twisted. This jutsu that he's using here isn't the same as the first Hokage summoning giant Buddha type jutsu or nothing. Don't get it twisted. He didn't break out of this kind of wood or nothing, but it's still impressive nonetheless from the third. However, don't sleep on Sarutobi yet. Sarutobi did get an interaction with a statue-like figure similar to the first Hokage in the big war at the end of the saga, the series. I showed this a little bit earlier. This big old statue type thingy was blasting him. Sarutobi was able to counter it with his own blast with his shadow clones and stuff. Something that's as big as a mountain at least, right? Or a couple skyscrapers. And it's pretty much confirmed that he canceled it out. This isn't the first Hokage doing this jutsu, but it's impressive how everybody's saying don't underestimate the Lord Third. Even the first and second standards, he's still pretty top tier, even in comparison to the top dogs. Because when it comes to his blast power, his fire did cancel out the second's water style in this occasion. And you got to remember, he's fighting two of them in this occasion. This is ridiculously hard. And then he comes back with another top tier jutsu. And this guy's not in his prime, so I would definitely say when Naruto was in trouble, when the second Hokage was destroying these vines, for example, and he was about to be crushed, Sarutobi with his staff combat can break all this stuff with strikes. Okay, the best way to understand Sarutobi's strength, okay, is these two jutsu right here. It's of course made by two different beings, but let's just make a stretch right here, right? If we assume this jutsu right here, even though it's not performed by the same being, if we assume their strength is similar when it comes to the punching power, or one could say blast power, we've seen what this could do to super top tier Susanos in the past. Susanos that are even stronger or more durable than Susanos by Itachi, for example, because there's different levels of Susanos, right? Depending on the character, everybody has their own different levels of Susano, of course. Itachi Susano, for example, another Uchiha that's pretty powerful but was dying during this time, his weakened version of a Susano is still able to withstand, when it comes to durability, mountain splitting. Like you see the jutsu, you see this hideout looks like the size of a mountain. These attacks can blow away mountains. And these low tier Susanos where a character like Itachi was actually dying from sickness and illness could block it. Imagine a top tier Uchiha like Madara, for example, who had a better version of a Susano that was actually full-bodied and full armored. This Susano was getting broken apart by the statue that the first Hokage made punching him. And I know this is different from this, but it's kind of like the same concept and very similar. This one can effortlessly blow away mountains. This one definitely can do that as well. And when a statue of this caliber, like I was showing a little bit earlier, produced jutsu from the 5 elements, you guessed it, the third Hokage was the one to nullify this attack, producing all 5 elements at the same time with his own blast power to something that's mountain-sized. He was even praised for it, talking about canceling it out. When you look at other top tier ninja and what jutsu they can do and how much raw blunt blast power they can produce, no matter if we're talking about earth, water, lightning elements, the third should have the raw power to split a mountain in half or right down the middle with his raw cutting or thrust power, depending on which jutsu he uses. That's not really that far of a fetch because his students, even like Jiraiya when he grows up, can produce mountain shattering attacks. Mountain shattering is like standard power levels when you become a top tier, if we're going to be honest. So even if we haven't seen him necessarily blast apart a mountain, that occasion with the top tier statue, Senju statue, should prove it. And the fact that he's one of the mightiest ninjas of all time. He's a Hokage. He's got students that can produce mountain shattering attacks. It's just too much evidence of it. We've literally seen him fight his former students like Orochimaru, who are known as the great legendary ninja. I mean, we literally have on-screen feats of him using earth style, water style, fire style, lightning, and all that good stuff, right? So let's look at it even further. Let's look at other top tier Hokage level being that use similar technique, like the Mizukage, for example. So even if he lacks showings, we can get an idea of the top tier water users and what they can do based on what we've seen her do, to give you somewhere of a guesstimation of where Sarutobi should be at. Because both these beings are technically Hokage level beings. There was this time where there was a whole bunch of chunks of the moon coming down on the planet. They was forming like meteors that was causing catastrophic destruction. We've seen her do water style attacks that can nullify the meteors. Meteors that were coming down with such force and speed that they can level entire villages or multiple town-sized explosions, like nuclear bomb type looking crap like this. And Hokage level beings that can use water style can deflect stuff that can produce all this raw power like a nuke. So even though we haven't necessarily seen Sarutobi do that, due to the fact he was able to counter that big old statue with his own style, there's heavy implications he could do the same. So who's to say that if the Hidden Leaf Village was about to get hit with a meteor, there's a good chance Sarutobi can make his own water dragon that has enough raw power to stop its power, force, and momentum. Other top tier Hokage level beings like the second Hokage, his blast canceled out to really show his power. I'm pretty sure he could make a super jutsu if he wanted to, to level an entire village if he wanted to, honestly. Whether he decides to do it with fire, lightning type blast, he can probably project and destroy a catastrophic part of the city or village, or just catastrophic water style attack. He has a lot of ways to blast you when it comes to blast power, to wipe out a whole bunch of buildings or structures at that. This will probably take a lot of chakra, but one could say he could devastate an entire city or produce similar force with water dragon style jutsu or blast power like that. It's just a lot of ways you can look at him. There's not many people that knows as many chakra natures as him, right? When everybody was working together to cut down the super tree, Sarutobi with his summon that can turn into bullcrap can actually do it as well, like big chops like that. It proves with this staff, with this pole strike, he can already devastate stuff without even necessarily having to use energy blast. So one could say with just his staff strikes or stuff like that, he could devastate buildings. His hits with it can do catastrophic damage to buildings and stuff like that, right? And if it's anything like his blast power, it would be like saying he could do this to mountains too and just delete them with his strikes, just like that. He has to have some type of superhuman physicals, or his superhuman physicals on top of his staff, one could say could help the situation, because we've seen him slug it with Orochimaru when it comes to fighting speed. He didn't just get straight up blitzed. Heck, there was even parts where he kind of had Orochimaru on the ropes. You guys remember when Orochimaru punched and staggered the Nine Tails? I mean, it didn't do too much damage to the Nine Tails like this, but it's just the fact that he did this with his fist. It gives more lore and backing on how strong Sarutobi has to be physically. Or even if you were to say he isn't physically a beast, one could say because of his companion being able to turn into a staff, he can hit hard and hit you with this, and this is what produces the raw power. The only thing that was holding him back in this fight against Orochimaru when it comes to like them two trading blows, with him using his staff, Orochimaru using his sword, and disarming him with his sword. His main weakness was his age. His body itself is too decrepit. Even stated if he had been just 10 years younger, he would have killed Orochimaru here. You know, he's up there with the Hokage and can hold his weight, because there's literally an attack only Hokage level beings can do. It's called the Four Crimson Ray Formation. It's where they pretty much make this giant four-way barrier to hold in the Ten Tails, for example. It's more powerful than the Four Flames Formation. Only Kage class shinobi can create it. When the Ten Tails tried to blast his way out, it actually got blasted back on himself. It's shown that he has some credible pain tolerance. He's being pummeled or punched by the older Hokage and keeps getting back up to continue the jutsu. Didn't even try to dodge being impaled because he was so focused on getting Orochimaru with the jutsu, even though his summon did kind of help a little bit by grabbing the sword. There's a lot of mystery to Sarutobi, but his clan in general is known for fire style type techniques, so you know he's even considered exceptional compared to these standards. It just kind of lets you know how much power he has. But a lot of mystery to him, lack screen time, things like that. His Hokage rank and his writer intent should let you know how strong he is. But do you respect him? But before I get going, I have to say a quick thank you to those that have donated to the channel. Respect the Third Hokage. I'm glad you are enjoying your time on the channel. Make sure you check out the playlist on the channel to see other How Strong videos. If you like what this channel is offering, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys later.